Here is the foolproof guide to building an aesthetic physique with calisthenics. I will focus solely on muscles that are objectively seen as aesthetic in this video. That's all. Not necessarily how to build a fully functional physique, just an aesthetic one. But since you'll be training with calisthenics, you'll still become pretty damn functional. Before we get into the video, let me put you guys on game with calisthenics. This is a bodyweight bodybuilding program, building an aesthetic physique with calisthenics. Don't worry, this still addresses non-aesthetic muscle groups for complete training. The link to this program is the first link in the description box. Okay, now onto the video. What makes an aesthetic physique? Primarily the V-taper and all that adds to it, along with some other key muscles. For the V-taper, we want to prioritize the shoulders, front delts and side delts, the lats and teres major. This will all widen the upper torso. To make the waist look narrower, you want to be lean or get lean and have larger upper arms to add to the effect. As for arms, we want to primarily focus on the upper arms, so biceps, brachialis and triceps. Also, the forearms can help a little bit too. The upper back isn't that deep, although I would like to add some upper traps to the mix. I used to believe that upper traps aren't the most aesthetic, but I have changed my view. They don't need to be overdeveloped, but a well-developed set of upper traps add to the appearance of the shoulders in my opinion. Along with that, the six-pack is huge, and with this I really only do mean the six-pack, not the obliques, so the rectus abdominis. Not just being lean, but having thick developed abs. Like Roman armor. Thick abs look both aesthetic for women to see and intimidating / respectable for men. And let me specify what I mean. Not shredded abs necessarily, but big strong abs. And that's what we're going to build. Next up we have quads. This is major in not looking like you have chicken legs. And it's more important than the other leg muscles if thinking purely about aesthetics. So your glutes don't matter as much, unless you want a bunch of comments about your gat on YouTube. But thankfully for balance, what trains your quads usually involves some form of hip extension and therefore will target your glutes a little as well for balance. And lastly, calves. I feel like this isn't even a massive deal when thinking about aesthetics, but I guess I'll throw them in there just to make sure. So the key to an aesthetic physique will be shoulders, lats, upper arms, six-pack and quads. And the secondary but still helpful will be traps, forearms, chest and calves. Now that we know the muscle to prioritize, let's go over the best calisthenics exercises for each muscle. I'm going to order the exercises with relevant muscles. So let's start with biceps and brachialis and a little bit of forearms. For biceps, we have calisthenics curls. These look similar to supinated inverted rows, but instead of focusing on pulling your elbows back, you focus on flexing at the elbows to pull your upper body closer at the shoulders. These can be adjusted. You can do them with a standard shoulder width grip, a narrow grip, or one arm at a time. You can also use rings to make this even more adjustable. That way you can alter the height you are for the exercise. So the lower to the ground you are, the harder, and the more upright, the easier. You also have regular chin-ups. These hit your lats too, by the way. You can experiment with a standard grip and narrow grip. Narrow grip is better for your biceps than a standard shoulder width grip because your lats can't optimally work it. This is because you can't fully extend the shoulder or adduct the arms due to your body blocking your elbows from completing the movement and due to your elbows being in front of you rather than at your side. So great for biceps and minimizes your lat involvement. You will also get a little forearm activation too, so great. You only need so much because your forearms aren't key. If you want, you can dead hang at the end till failure to finish off your forearms. Narrow neutral grip pull-ups are great for your brachialis. This will add to the sheer thickness of your upper arms. So you could add these in. Because it's a weakened position for your biceps, your brachialis takes a large part of the load. You can also get brachialis work during regular pull-ups, which we'll cover later. So you don't necessarily need this. But the key exercises for this section are calisthenics curls. You can do them narrow or standard grip, unilateral or with rings, and chin-ups with a standard or narrow grip or unilateral focus too. For lats, we have pull-ups, so shoulder width apart for an emphasis on your lats. Narrow grip will give your brachialis some more work, but yeah, it's really that simple. Shoulder width apart pull-ups will work your lats amazingly. It's my favorite lat exercise. It also has been scientifically proven to be the exercise eagles use to grow their wings and fly. A study in Harvard University of Oxfordshire in Switzerland performed the study. It's factual. Without pull-ups, eagles won't have wings and therefore won't fly because pull-up gives you wings. Did you get it? All right, tough crowd. Wide grip pull-ups are great for some more lat activation alongside hitting your teres major. This gives more of that wide appearance from both the front and the back. People used to think that the wider the pull-ups, the wider the lats, but it really was the wider the pull-ups, the wider the back as a result of your teres major. Next up, triceps. Push-ups hit both the triceps and pecs. Standard shoulder width apart push-ups are great for both. The more narrow your hands, the more emphasis on your triceps. This will hit more of the lateral head of your triceps. Tricep push-ups are also great. These push-ups eliminate the pectoral contributions to the push-up. This will hit all the heads of your triceps. The more overhead you do, the greater the demand on the long head of your triceps. You can also do this on a decline by elevating your legs. This can make the exercise harder and is a great way to overload the exercise. You can also do this with a bar to help this become more overhead. Last exercise for your triceps, but definitely not least, dips. This is another great exercise for the lateral head of your triceps. In case you worry about your medial head, don't worry. It will be stimulated in all these movements, especially as you do higher reps. Speaking of high reps, high rep dips are a spectacular exercise. You likely won't be able to go crazy high rep like in push-ups, so it won't feel completely unbearable. Try reach 30 if you can. Next up, we have the shoulders, and by that I mean front and side delts, along with the upper traps. These muscles work together a lot. That's why I'm grouping them. Pike push-ups or handstand push-ups depending on your strength level. Basically any form of overhead push-ups. By the way, I don't mean freestanding handstand push-ups, but rather chest to wall, wall-assisted handstand push-ups. So really you can choose between pike push-ups and handstand push-ups. I personally prefer handstand push-ups, but if you aren't strong enough yet, pike push-ups followed by elevated pike push-ups will do. These will primarily hit your front delts, but since you will already be doing push-ups and or dips, to avoid giving the front delts all the work, I think you should explore flaring out your elbows for these. Without flared elbows, the side delts won't get much work. Why? Because their role is to abduct your arms. But with your elbows being tucked, as they tend to be during overhead push-ups, they don't tend to perform their role and your front delts just take over the entire movement. An easy fix is to simply flare out your elbows so that they now have a use too. This way you can hit both your front and side delts. You can obviously do both or just the regular ones. This is just for those of you wanting to hit the side delts as much as possible, because it is hard to hit the side delts with calisthenics. The best exercise overall will be side lateral raises, which you obviously can't do if you're doing strictly calisthenics. Next up, we have upside down pull-ups, the upside down rows or upside down shrugs, whatever you want to call them. With these, you want to use a parallel bar and prop yourself upside down. Then you would elevate your scapula and pull up from the bottom as though you were doing upright rows. However, I would like to recommend that you do not go to complete failure, as you don't want to fall on your head. Though this has never actually happened to me, I feel obliged to warn you guys just to make sure. By flaring out your elbows, again, you enable your side delts to get some work in. So if you didn't want to flare your elbows for the overhead push-ups, maybe these upside down pull-ups are where you choose to do this. Make sure you warm up properly, especially if stabilizers, as in you rotate a cuff. You don't want any impingement. There is a clear risk of injury with this exercise, so it isn't a must-do exercise, just for the zealous. The key is overhead push-ups, so handstand or pike push-ups, and flaring out your elbows helps activate the side delts. Alright, on to the next. Six-pack abs. This is simple. Here we emphasize spinal flexion with one or two movements, or both. I prefer crunches, full crunches at that. Don't just bring your legs up and bend your neck. Actually focus on flexing your spine. This will ensure you actually fully engage your abs rather than just your hip flexors. The same can be said for leg raises. Don't just bring your legs up, curve your spine. A lot of people only feel this in their hip flexors. That's because your abs don't drive hip flexion, they drive spinal flexion. So emphasize this by bending at the spine with this exercise. You can do these on the floor with dip bars or using a pull-up bar. I prefer the floor, but to each their own. Now quads, pretty simple. Most of the free weight exercises you know for quads are just weighted calisthenics anyways. So just drop the weights and do the same exercise. So you've got squats. You can do this with standard squats, or a more challenging version, you can do pistol squats. This isn't a balance drill, so you can hold on to something to assist with balance. If doing regular squats, you can also choose to add in jumps to make the exercise more demanding so that you don't need to go too high in reps. Lastly, in terms of squats, we have sissy squats. This really optimizes the stretch of the quads under load. Also, the glute involvement is minimized because there is minimal hip flexion. This way, you're isolating the quads. You also have lunges, so normal walking lunges or alternating lunges, or my favorite, one-legged lunges. Yet again, this isn't a balance drill, so you can use an object to help assist you in balancing. Last of all the muscle groups, and definitely least, your calves. Calf raises. That's it. Just calf raises. You can do them one-legged to make them harder and elevate the surface to optimize the stretch and range of motion. But that's it, calf raises. So now that we've gone over the exercises, let's talk sets, reps, and rest. For reps, you mainly want to be going to failure, and complete muscle failure at that. Why? Because it's only your body weight, so the load may not be heavy enough to necessitate your type 2 motor units, depending on your weight of course. So as a result, you need to go to failure. Going to failure means exhausting your small type 1 motor units, so that your nervous system needs to call on your bigger type 2 motor units. That's how high reps build muscle. It's not actually high reps that build muscle, it's reps taken to failure that do, high or low. So go to complete muscular failure, where you can't even complete 50% of the range of motion of whatever exercise. Now this is intense, so don't worry, you don't need to go to failure for each and every set, but try to go to failure failure for at least one of your sets each exercise. 2 sets would be even better. 3 sets would be unnecessary, taken to failure. Speaking of sets, 3 to 5 sets each exercise is good depending on the exercises or muscles you're prioritizing. So let's say you were doing 5 sets, only take your first 1 to 2 sets to complete muscle failure. The following sets after that, you can go close to form failure, but stop a couple reps before or stop at form failure for the later sets rather than complete muscle failure. Form failure is where you can't complete the complete range of motion anymore. As for rest, 1 to 2 minutes of rest between sets should suffice. If doing unilateral exercises, so one side at a time, rest about 30 seconds between sides. What about training split? I only recommend 2 training splits for this, upper lower or full body. This is only because of the slight carryover from push to pull on handstand push-ups and upside down pull-ups. So I would recommend grouping push and pull together. To be honest, I would recommend an upper lower split over the full body split too, because doing it together will likely take a lot of time, but it all depends on your preference. Train each muscle group 3 times a week. So upper lower 3 times a week, as in 6 total days of training, or full body 3 times a week. For upper lower, you can alternatively do 5 days or even 4 days. So hit an upper body 3 times and legs once or twice depending on your physique goals. Legs are still the least important in this routine, so I can understand if you didn't overemphasize it. At least 1 session is acceptable. Would I skip legs? No, but I can understand if you wish to. Though this routine doesn't go crazy hard on legs, so maybe a minimum of 2 leg sessions would be good. 1 leg session might not actually be enough in this case. So let me repeat, either upper lower or full body 3 times a week. I recommend upper lower, but to each his own. Okay, now you know the exercise, you know the sets, reps, rest, split, and frequency. It's time to put it all together. So for upper body or the upper body part of your full body workout, depending on which training split you choose, start with a vertical pull to emphasize your lats and teres major, followed up with some bicep focus. Follow that with some overhead pressing for your front delts and maybe some side delt work. Onto some horizontal push-ups for both tricep and chest work, followed by some tricep work, so dips or tricep push-ups or both. The next one is optional, but maybe do some upper trap / side delt work in upside down pull-ups. Next, add in at least 2 exercises of quad work, followed by calf work, and then finish up with 5 to 6 sets of abs. If I were doing your routine for you, this would be an example for 1 week. Pause and screenshot if you want to try it out. That's all. I hope you found this video helpful and make plenty of gains. Remember, don't let body dysmorphia take the reins. Embrace where you are and how far you've come. It's you versus you. Alright guys, it's B4Flex and I'm out.